Well, hello my dear gardeners. Look what I have here today. I'm going to make my Hypertufa pot. And I was experimenting with cement in my garden. As you can see, this is my second attempt working with cement, and I really like how it turned out. The only question is how this container is going to live through the winter. If this container lives through the winter, great. I'm going to leave it outside, and I planted here lamb's ears. It didn't look well, so I took lamb's ears out, because lamb's ears were like kind of hanging out and blocking all this nice beautiful design here. By the way, here it is how I made it. And then I decided to switch lamb's ears with boxwood. So hopefully this is how it's going to be overwintering outside in the garden, boxwoods together with this planter, and we will see the results. And this was my first attempt of Hypertufa container. As you can see, I used fibers, artificial fibers here, since I garden in cold area where there are extreme temperatures, and I want my Hypertufa last. So let's make our third Hypertufa container, and I will show you what to do with the mix to make sure that it is really weatherproof and will withstand cold temperatures in cold climates. So what is Hypertufa? It's a man-made substitute for original natural tufa, which occur on the riverbanks, and it's very difficult to find now. It is very rare and very expensive, especially in Europe. But we all love the beautiful look of Asian stone in the garden. It contributes to the natural look of the garden, right? So somebody came up with a mix, which is much lighter, easier to make, not as expensive, but at the same time it gives us that look of the old ancient wall, stone wall. So let's talk about the mix. What Hypertufa mix needs to be durable, porous, looking great, and in my case withstand those cold temperatures. There are different recipes on the internet of Hypertufa, and I like 1-1-1 mix. So we have Portland cement, which is highly advisable for everybody to use in this application. So we will have one amount of Portland cement. Then we will have perlite. Perlite is a substance which adds a lot of lightness to our projects. Since cement is so heavy, we don't want our container to be super heavy. So perlite adds that light feature, right? And then we have peat moss, and peat moss adds the natural look. Peat moss eventually rots away, disappears, and our Hypertufa ends up with beautiful porous look to it, like a natural stone formation. And then we go into additives. We can do different cement dyes to achieve a different color of our products, right? And then we can do fibers. And in my case, I'm going to do the addition of fiber, approximately 1 cup for this project, because I'm gardening in zone 7 and we do have cold winters. And this fiber will reinforce the container. I'm going to keep all my Hypertufa containers outside, preferably on the legs, for them not to sit directly on the frozen soil. But this fiber will reinforce the mix. And what else you need for this? You will need water to mix it well, and you also would need a good mask to go on your face, since perlite and cement are harmful to inhale. I saw different Hypertufa recipes online, and very often I can see that there would be 1 portion of cement and 1.5 of perlite and peat moss. Well, I don't think that is strong enough for me. I feel like I need to increase the cement amount, because I want my Hypertufas to be strong. And if we add too much of perlite, it will make the mix kind of crumbly. The same with peat moss. If there is too much peat moss, the mix is going to be too crumbly and can fall apart. It is okay for small projects or for the projects in the house, like this plant I made for my succulent. So the bigger amount of cement will make it more heavy. How much water do I add to it? Well, to make sure that it looks like it forms a rough ball in your hand and doesn't fall apart, but at the same time the water is not running out. You don't want it to be too runny, for the water to run out, because then it wouldn't be as strong in the mold. So as much water as it can hold without running. And now let's talk about the mold. I have these two containers I found at the budget store. You see this one? This would be the container for the outside of the wall. And theirs will go inside, and between them all the space would be filled with Hypertufa substance. This way it will have time to mold in between. So I'm going to do that. And we have two options: either spray the walls with oil. I don't like that. I like to just line it with a garbage bag. This way it's easier to take the Hypertufa out of this container after it cures, more or less, after 24 hours. And then I will do the same with this one. I will line this with the garbage bag. This way it is an easy job to take Hypertufa out. And I start packing the bottom. It's like basically making the mud pies. Remembering your childhood, right? All right. So this would be the bottom. You see, it should be of this consistency where it molds well together. You can easily underestimate how much Hypertufa medium you need. This is my second mix, and I didn't do enough, so here I am. I mixed it. I went ahead and mixed the second batch, and I'm manually building walls of my Hypertufa. Since it's so tricky to do it while the second container is in, the walls are somewhat narrow, so I'm going to build the walls, put the container in afterwards, and then kind of finish putting it in. It's kind of very straightforward method, very messy, so make sure you wear some old clothes, because cement is going to be everywhere. I'm going to wash this table after I finish this project. Okay. Okay. Is it in? I think it is in. Why do we use the second container? Because we don't want our Hypertufa to fall in on itself, right, during the curing process. There is one beautiful trick. When I release this Hypertufa tomorrow from this mold, Hypertufa is not going to be super strong yet. It would not have time to cure, so I can mix any mistakes, scrubbing them out, like edge of the walls. We will see tomorrow how this is going to mature. Pack it tight, don't worry. Okay, now I'm going to cover it. I don't want air to go inside, and let it sit for a day, cure for a day. 2 days later, I let my Hypertufa sit for 2 days, cure well. I tried it out already to take it out, and it works well. It looks dark and wet, which is fine. And now my job is for this cement to become nice and strong. I have to delay the curing process as long as I can. So I'm going to keep it wet and full of moisture for a long time. But now I want to get it out. Let me put my gloves on and see how it looks on the outside. I still have to be very careful with it because it's not fully cured. Oh, it comes out really quickly. The curing process will take some time. Interesting, interesting. Now is my golden time to take everything away what I don't like about it. You see these edges kind of up. I'm going to use this scraping brush, the wire scrapes, and kind of, that's a lot of dust here. I don't like it. Right. And scrape away the edges. You know what? I let it sit for too long. Maybe one day would be better. No, it's a little bit too hard. Okay, learn from my mistakes. One day is better than 2 days. But honestly, it doesn't look so bad. It looks really interesting. And this uneven edge also looks nice. Let's see, one very important thing to do is to do the holes at the bottom, right? And I'm going to do it with a drill. They're kind of small, I want them bigger. The time to do these Hypertufa projects is not in the middle of the summer, where it's very hot and cement will dry very fast. Our job is to make sure that cement is going to cure slowly, and then it would be very good for cold winters, and it will withstand cold winters. The best time would be spring or fall. Fall is ideal because now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this, wet it first of all. I will wet it, cover it in the plastic and let it sit for at least 2 weeks here under the table for it to cure well. And then after 2 weeks, several weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks, I will just basically forget about it. Or maybe we'll wet it again in 1 week. And then through the winter, this thing is going to sit on several stones on the ground and cure through the winter. This way, I'm ready to plant this container with some beautiful plants in spring, and it will be fully ready. Well, actually it wouldn't be ready. It would be looking very white because this is cement, right? And this pot, I used cement acids to change the color of cement. This was originally very light, you know, that artificial color of cement, and now it looks very ancient. So here in spring next year, I'm going to use the same acids to make sure that this artificial color disappears and it looks like ancient stone. So this is a plan for now. All right, watering it well. And let it sit in that water for 3 weeks and cure well. Well, well, well. Every time I look at my garden in the middle of the winter, I'm thinking next spring is going to be the best spring. And this time is not an exception. I'm already thinking that next spring is going to be gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. My dear gardeners, I will see you next time. Happy gardening.